welcome to another episode of TRUUU Podcast. I'm your host, Drea.
And I'm your host, Alex.
And this week we have a very special, much anticipated guest. If you guys follow our Instagram and ever watch our stories, this guy has been a troll for a while, and he's finally made it onto the podcast.
Came out from under my bridge, yeah.
Yes, he's crawled out from the bridge, and he is here. So
I even showered for this.
Oh.
Yeah.
How fancy. I did not. Actually, I did. I just didn't wash my hair.
That's okay,
Hence
that's
the
fair. Fair.
But anyway, so John is one of my old friends from, well, actually, he's my sister's, best friend, and then we've just become friends.
I think we're best friends, too, to be honest.
Okay, we're best friends, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna, the avenue I was going to is that we become best friends in the process of you guys being friends.
Tell that story, then.
Well, why don't you tell that story?
Oh, because my story's a little trollish.
Well,
actually, no, I can be objective.
Yeah, you have
to
to introduce yourself to the listeners, so go ahead and share how you and I became acquainted.
All right, hello to all these wonderful listeners. You're at the TRUUU Podcast. My name's John. All right, I am not that much of a troll. I'm a human being with human needs and desires and goals. Okay. But my dear little sister here, Andrea, is the little sister of my best friend Danielle, whom I met in high school. We were about 15 when we first met. She would probably say 14 because I think we had each other for a class, but I didn't register that I had her with that class. Either way, her and I, really close. Pretty much grew up together starting from adolescence, so naturally I'm always at the house. There was a point in college when I was literally at your house every day.
Yeah. You and a few other people, I just feel like we're constant. I couldn't see my sister without seeing you guys.
Right.
It was, I mean, not that I hated it, but I was also just am I ever gonna just hang out with my sister alone?
But
the answer was no.
The answer is no to pretty much anybody. Nobody can hang out with your sister
true.
alone.
You're not wrong,
exactly.
Actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm just it's usually a package deal.
It's a character trait. Yeah, it's a character trait.
If she's listening to this right now, she's like, why are they talking so much shit about me? Can I say that? Is this a family friendly? You'll mute me?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I'll censor it. You'll be fine.
Okay. But I can't say those words.
If you could censor
What's
yourself,
the threshold of, can I say crap?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Just know, actually, if we're gonna put this on YouTube, it's not gonna flag us.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right then. But so we're talking crap about her. But I know how delighted she'd be here to listen to us talking about just how she brought us together. So I know that in the process of hanging out with her and the family, I ended up getting to know you a lot better. And one of our earliest stories is me coming into your bedroom one night. This actually is sounding way worse than this is. Yeah, this is bad. Okay.
Maybe you should rephrase it.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Okay.
I came in to tell you a bedtime story.
No, that's not what happened.
See, okay. I told you were supposed to say the story.
I was in bed because I went to sleep really early when I was younger because I would train all day for tennis, and then I would get up really early because I would wash my hair every morning and then blow dry it and straighten it because I have massive crazy frizzy hair. Okay. So I have to wake up at 5. We've talked about this in our styling episode.
Right. Yeah.
So I would go to sleep relatively early, and then as John mentioned, Danielle would have her friends over till midnight every night. And so one night I was in bed, and then John, I don't know, he get this is really characteristic of John. He would always get bored at some point and then wander off to a different part of the house and see what's going on over there.
I'll likely do that during this podcast.
During the podcast, you just leave. So he wanders into my room, and he's just Cheapy, because all my sister's friends call me Cheapy. He's like, Cheapy, what are you doing? And I was just I'm going to bed. And I was angry. I was so much attitude because I was sleepy. And he was oh, that sounds boring. And so he came over to my bed and sat at the edge of my bed. And I was well, if you're here, tell me a story. And you're okay. Well, and then you go into a story, but you weren't even telling me a story. You were just making commentary on whatever. And I was just
those are my stories. That's.
I mean, sure, but me being a bratty kid.
Isn't every story a commentary on something when you really think about it?
That's a whole podcast in itself.
Okay, next time then.
But anyway, the whole story culminates in me yelling at you, tell me a story, damn it.
Which the rest of the house heard, so at that point it became we had an audience.
It was the thing, it's the slogan of me and John's friendship ever, after that.
Tell me a story.
Tell me a story, damn it.
Yeah, that's actually how she invited me to this podcast.
No.
Yes. Get on my podcast, damn it.
Imagine. No, but yeah, that is how I feel our friendship sparked. And then after that, it just it was
And then
It had
as you
stages?
became an adult, yeah, it had stages. So as
Yeah.
you became an adult, no longer had to see you as like a kid sister. Like you were becoming your own person. And in that, we had our own connections and our own similarities and our own. You know, Danielle and I love her to death. There are some parts of us that we're really close about, but then also, you know, there's some things we can't talk about.
Yeah.
Yet, when I'm at your house or was at your parents' house, you and I were able to cover some of the more like, I don't want to say intellectual, but
more like goal-driven sides of like conversations.
Yes.
Because Danielle, I mean, God bless her soul, but like she's a very fun person to talk about, like to talk to, and like and like analytical and theoretical. But like when it comes to like, oh, like what should we do about our master's programs? You know, like Danielle's like not the person to talk to about it. But yeah, it's been great, and like you said, like I feel like our friendship has really had stages. Like for the longest time, John really did play like an older brother role for me. Where he would like pick me up for school when we'd have like late start. Like he would drive me to school. I don't know where my sister is during all this.
Sure, I don't know. Yeah.
He would take me to school. He would get me breakfast in the morning. Like he would take me and my friends to like the movies. And then pick us up. So like John really played like
So you called me Unky John.
My Unky John. That's another like inside joke that we had. I always called him my Unky John, which is really an outrageous. Like why couldn't I just like consider you as like a brother or cousin, like anyone in like
I think because I specifically said call me Unky John.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like something you'd say.
Exactly. I'm not
Okay,
I'm
right.
not here to be your big bro. Okay. Unless I'm being paid on a TV show to do that.
Here I am trying to like be nicer and be like, I don't know why I was calling you an old man. You're like, no, I want to be an
to be an old man.
Anyway, so that's John. He is one of my dearest friends.
I think there's also a really special part, which I think culminated our relationship, is that you had asked something of me that was very special in your life.
Right. I was going to mention, it's like, because that's the first time I met you.
Was it?
I think so.
Could have sworn I've seen you before.
Yes. I think so.
No, I think you guys
Maybe
met
in my
before
dreams.
that. You had to meet before that.
How?
Like a party or something?
Mm-mm.
You came to Christmases before.
Either way, I registered as an individual in Alex's life and heart at that
you're
time.
You're right.
That is true.
And share that time. What did you ask me to do?
Okay, so John was the officiant of my wedding for me and Aaron. He married us, and he also told me that my wedding was one of his favorites.
One of my favorites and one of my best.
It was one of your best, actually.
Yes.
Can I just tell you, so you know my family friend Jenny, like my mom's best friend?
Mm-hmm.
She was at my sister's wedding, who John also was the officiant at my sister's wedding, and then she was at my wedding. And at my sister's wedding, which I'm not like trying to like bag on you or anything, because I know that Danielle and Brian asked John to like make people laugh and like have a good time and like make it a fun wedding. Like I know that they asked that of you. So John's like, what's the word? Speech?
It's a homily or the little. I don't even know what to call it.
I don't know what it's called. Well, when John was like giving his service or whatever, I don't know what to call it. It was like lighthearted.
I should know
funny.
this.
Huh?
I should know this too.
You should know this, being that you have officiated multiple weddings.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Which, by the way, if any listeners are in the process of wanting to officiate,
like,
I am like
card.
legally an officiant. I do know my stuff.
Yes, and I do recommend.
And I do cater to your needs, just like this story's kind of going. Danielle and Brian wanted a more. I think I said at one point in their wedding that I was like the genie to their Aladdin and Jasmine.
You did say
that.
Yeah. You did say that.
That's fun.
That is fun, right?
Yeah.
Everyone needs a genie in their life.
He also, I want to point
never
out
got a
that
friend
he
like me.
opened like the whole like conversation piece with the fact that like we were surrounded by zombies because like over the hill was a graveyard, like a cemetery. And so he was like opening with like, oh, the dead may rise during this ceremony, and like so.
I didn't say it like that.
You
no.
said something.
I said something like, I think like we're in the perfect position to defend against a zombie invasion, or the worst position, one or the other.
I mean,
it's either the best
way,
or the
he was
worst.
talking about a zombie invasion.
But there were zombie invasions.
So like that's to give you a feel of like how the ceremony went.
That's amazing.
So my mom's friend Jenny, she like after the fact, because she's very traditional, like Chinese.
Oh, I remember her.
Yeah. And like
your mom's one Chinese friend. Now I remember.
Yes. My mom's Chinese friend. So after the ceremony, she like went to my parents and she was just like, "What the heck was up with that officiant?" Like she was like, "What? Like that was weird." And my mom was like, "Oh, it's John, you know," and that's what Danielle and Brian wanted, you know. And she didn't get it, you know, because like it's not in her culture to like have a fun wedding, I guess. But then fast forward to my wedding when I obviously asked you to officiate mine, and she was like, why would you ask him? Like, she was, like, giving me flack for it. Like, she was just like, I can get you so many better people. Like, don't.
No, you can't.
Don't bring him into it. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. And then
I
after
don't know.
the wedding,
I was a point of contention within your wedding.
No, listen,
I like
listen.
this.
So then after the wedding, she came up to me and she was just like, was that the same person who did Danielle's wedding? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh my God. It was night and day. It was the most amazing service I've ever been to. He did such a good job. I was so emotional. And I was like, well, it's because Danielle and Brian asked that. But yeah, so it was an amazing service. You were a big part of that and like the emotion.
And it was an honor.
Yeah.
I learned how to tie a Gaelic knot.
Right, yeah.
Them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even tie my own shoes. But I learned how to
You
tie
learned the Gaelic knot.
You were looking at my shoes. These are still tied from Macy's.
You know, it's very interesting because the way that your shoelaces are tied is a little bit strange. From where I'm sitting, it looks weird.
For our YouTube
like
viewers,
entirely loose.
Yeah, it's entirely loose.
That's fine. Well, easy for sliding on and off.
That's precisely why I have it.
Who ties their shoes anymore?
Yeah.
I do.
Well, I was bullied in middle school for having Skechers, like
I did too. The little strap-ons.
Yeah.
Me too. I wasn't bullied, but I wore them. I was the bully.
I had a roller backpack too. I was all about convenience, but convenience and efficiency do not bode well in junior high.
In junior high, absolutely.
Yeah. Certainly not a roller backpack either.
Oh my gosh.
I got kicked so much.
I'm sure.
You know, I also have to say, we haven't even gotten into the podcast, which I feel like this conversation is fun, so I'm not too worried about it. But I have to say that John's evolution in his style, he should have come in on the style podcast, really. Because his evolution in style has really taken a journey.
Is that why?
That's true.
Is that why for Christmas everyone got him clothes?
He asked for clothes.
I kind of asked for it.
He asked for clothes.
So the journey, and that is probably a better conversation for an entire different podcast, but just kind of the Spark Notes version of it.
Yeah.
The journey has been not only in terms of like a viewpoint, but also from like a body image viewpoint, weight loss viewpoint. Like my 20s were definitely a fluctuation of who I was, and clothes are a representation of that.
Right.
So what Andrea may have originally known me as was just, I always had like a graphic t-shirt with like not even fun graphics, like snowmen and manatees, like just whatever. Like I would look like that random character from a sitcom. Like remember Even Stevens, Beans.
Yeah, Beans.
Like I was I'm sorry, that was a bad word. I was Beans. I was Beans, and I always had just like, and it wasn't like I was trying to showcase myself as a funny person. It's just I didn't really know how to dress myself, and part of that came from the inner
body image.
The inner body image, like no, I'm gonna wear an extra large or a 2X because I'm not comfortable in my own body.
Right.
But I mean, I'd never say that as a teenage boy or a young man. I should have, but I didn't. And so as I got older, I definitely learned how to dress myself better. And Andrea helped with that.
I did, actually. Yeah. I gave him a makeover one time. When
she did.
When he had his most significant, like at that time, weight loss, we like went through this phase where we were all mad at him because we were just like, John, you have a banging body and you're still wearing 2XL of
I don't remember those words.
Okay, well, like that wasn't the word, but like that was the essence of it. And so like one time, when our friend Coral, we like pulled him into my room and like we put him in a pair of like my skinny jeans and like I don't even know what shirt or whatever, and he fit in it, like he looked good. And I was just like, okay, you can wear my skinny jeans and you're still wearing like size extra large pants. Like this is a problem.
To be fair, I was also shopping at like Walmart. You know, so part of the efficiency is like getting cheap and frugal.
But you can also buy cheap and frugal clothing in your size, which you eventually did.
Which I eventually did.
It's just at the time it was a different John at the time.
There's been a lot of different Johns. Well, there's been the same John at like the core, but then there's been a lot of surface level Johns.
Right.
Yeah, and we're pretty much all like that though.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. We really should have had him on for the Stop Pod. Maybe we'll revisit it and have John on.
Do revisit it. Have me all of your podcasts.
We'll just interview him the entire.
What is the most obscure podcast you do?
Obscure?
Yeah, like what's an obscure topic? Can we do paranormal stuff?
Oh, we've done that. We can
Okay.
totally do it again, though. I love it.
Yeah.
Alex is a non-believer, so.
I am a middle of the line skeptic.
See, I feel like I identify kind of that way as well.
No,
like,
you identify as I believe in demons.
Yes, I feel like that's middle of the line.
But then anytime there's any sort of talk about any sort of spiritual anything else, you're like, no. You don't even consider it.
I believe in demons, too.
Well, you're both Christians, so...
Oh, it's not... Okay, that's okay. That's for another podcast. But, funny aside, so today I had my therapy appointment, and I actually, like, convinced my therapist the possibility that maybe there's some credence to astrology, even though I may not personally believe in it.
You're just playing devil's advocate.
No, well, yeah, because if you can make an argument for that,
sure.
you know, you can... And I had a dear friend of ours named Courtney, and one time I had a conversation with her on the phone just about a couple months ago, and we were talking about religion, and I had made kind of a comment about the possibility of divine intervention within her life. Not saying that it was that, but the possibility of it.
Sure.
Considering she couldn't explain much to it either way. And I guess her boyfriend at the time, like, he had heard about that, and when we got off the phone, he's like, that guy's too smart to be religious.
What does that mean?
I know exactly what that means. Smart people aren't supposed to be religious.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, well, you tell him that it's not that I'm too smart to be religious, it's that I'm smart enough to make an argument for God. That's all.
That is bizarre.
That's all.
I mean, I'm not particularly religious, but I would never in my life think that. Like, every single president in history has been, you know, Christian or Catholic.
Well, outwardly say they are.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But, like, you know...
Our current president's the same way.
Let's not talk about that. Anyway, but my point being that, like, there's people in high places that are, whether they really are or whether they just say they are, religious. Like, how could you possibly say that you're not educated if you're religious?
Right.
Like, that's an absurd comment to me.
It is.
I mean, generalizations, in general, are absurd comments to me. Anyway, let's move on to our week updates because we've taken a while here. That's 20 minutes of the John intro.
That was great.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good conversation.
This is how Joe Rogan became popular. You just sit and shoot the Can I say that? Shoot the crap.
I'll bleep it.
See, this is exactly why I said earlier, just like, I'm not worried that John doesn't have anything written in the outline. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, there was an outline?
If there's one thing, oh my God, if there's one thing that I can really say to John is, like, there's never a boring conversation.
Yes.
All right, so let's get into our week updates. Alex, how was your past week?
So it was good. Obviously, you know, Christmas happened, which was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And
who did you see over Christmas?
Well, I saw you two.
Okay, that is all you need to. You can stop right there.
Oh my God.
And then on Christmas Day, my siblings came over because we're kind of basically all in the same quarantine pod.
Mm-hmm.
So my siblings came over. I got to see my nephew, and had a good time. This year was the year for sweatshirts.
You got more sweatshirts?
Yeah, so this one I'm wearing currently.
Ooh, nice.
These pants, actually, that I'm wearing currently.
Mm.
This is a whole Christmas outfit. Actually, these shoes last year were a Christmas gift.
Oh, those are combat boots? I can't see them.
No, these are the Adidas.
Oh, the Adidas, got it.
Yeah. So,
You tie your shoes funny, too.
Huh?
You tie your shoes funny as well.
Yeah, I don't untie them.
Okay, see, so
See, that's the biggest thing.
But I tied them myself first.
I was going to say this when you guys were talking about John's shoes, but I used to work in footwear, and one of the things, because, like, okay, I don't know about how all stores do footwear things, but the way that Sports Chalet did footwear is you actually had to become an expert in all the brands.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, one of the things that we learned about was how important it is to tie your shoes, because when you don't and you just, like, pull it off and pull it on, it, like, wears out, like, the leather and, like, the making of the shoe itself, like, the integrity.
Right.
And that's how shoes break down faster over time. And so it's always been ingrained in my, like, in my head that I need to untie and retie my shoes every time I put them on. So that kills me that you guys don't.
I mean, my shoes look fine.
I mean, it's been 1 year, so...
I mean, how long do you need to keep a pair of shoes for?
My oldest pair of shoes are from 9th grade in high school.
I don't need to keep any shoes that long. I really don't.
Part of that style thing we were talking about earlier is, remember my shoes?
The running shoes?
Well, I kept shoes for like a decade.
Right.
Because I had that mindset of if they still work, they're good.
That's a male affliction.
That's my current mindset.
It is a male affliction?
I
I
guess I'm a
doctor?
male because that is my mindset. Go on.
No,
I'm saying that because all of my siblings and my dad, they will wear their shoes until they're like literal like holes, water leaking into their shoes because it's raining sort of down.
Yeah.
And usually I'd be the one to get them new shoes. So I'm like, listen, you don't need to live this way.
Here's the thing. I have tons of shoes. It's not that I only have one pair of shoes. It's just that I'm sometimes like, I need some, like, you know, shoes that can get dirty.
Well, that's the thing too, but because they're only having one pair of shoes,
Okay,
period, and running them into the ground, whereas you...
We should have a poll. Do you guys do polls
I'll
for
put
your
a poll on
podcast? Okay,
Instagram.
so
I
for
put
those
up the
listening right
shoes.
now, like, yeah, so are you in the camp of wear shoes and keep them until they've, like, lost their ability to be shoes, or, you know,
Just
should
get
shoes
new
be
shoes
something to have
constantly.
them for stylistic reasons?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we?
I was talking about my week.
Sorry. Go on.
So I got 2 sweatshirts from Dre.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 from my parents, and then the pleather jacket that I have over here, because I needed a new one, because that one, my old one was like 2 years old and falling apart, so this is the new one.
Nice.
I'm very happy with it. And other than that, I did a spring cleaning the day after Christmas.
Fun.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Because here's the thing, is that...
A spring cleaning after Christmas?
Right.
In winter?
Right.
Okay. Just,
Winter
I was
cleaning.
checking my
Because, you
seasons.
know, it's like... Yes. I realize. But, yeah, it's like one of those things where, you know, like, usually, like, people do spring cleanings where, like, they get rid of all their stuff that they don't need during that particular time, whereas, you know, I'm off of work right now because of Christmas break. So I'm just kind of like, I got into a fit of I need to get rid of all this extra clutter or else I'm not going to feel well.
For sure. Been there.
So, like, I did a overhaul of my closet.
Nice.
Switched out all the hangers for velvet hangers.
Ooh, I've done
Ooh,
that
I
before.
have, yeah. That's nice.
They're great.
It's a good feeling.
I actually just today finished that because I ordered 120 and apparently that wasn't enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, because between that, because I have everything in my closet, then I have a garment rack in the corner of my room that has all my jackets, or at least my most used jackets.
Okay.
And that's like 30 jackets on their own.
Oh my god. Wow. Was no
You
one
know
else
what? I
surprised by
have
this?
about like 30 jackets as well.
Yeah, well, it
Yeah.
spans from like jackets to like sweatshirts to, you know, whatever.
Sure.
That sort of stuff. Anyway, so did that. Got rid of a bunch of clothes that were old that I didn't need, which I'm going to donate, and then finally rearranging things in my closet the way I like, because one thing that was always kind of annoying to me since I've lived at the house I lived at, which has been for like 15 years,
Okay.
is that my other family members have stored some of their stuff in my closet.
Oh, I would hate that.
Yes.
I know that feeling. I'm Hispanic, if you haven't noticed. So everything's shared space in a Hispanic household.
Right. So, yeah. So,
Alex is also Hispanic,
I
in case
am.
you didn't know.
Is that racist of me to assume you were not? I think a little bit.
No, I wouldn't say it is because she looks so Dutch. It's outrageous.
You look so Dutch.
I mean, she is.
I look so white.
That was the word I was going for. I wasn't going to call you Dutch. I wasn't going to insult you to your face. But,
No, she
I
is
am
Dutch.
oh crap.
Why would I say that otherwise?
Okay, so, like, if we're gonna go into that avenue right now, because apparently we're gonna get into that, but...
No one's steering this car, so let's just go.
This is like the most chaotic podcast we've had. Okay.
So, I'm really, like, I'm a mutt. Just
Okay.
through and through. So, I basically have a lot of everything, but my biggest portions, like, are Dutch, Mexican, Puerto Rican.
Okay. Oh.
There's some...
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, like, there's, like,
Puerto Rican.
There's
Okay,
Cuban
I'm
in there, there's Native American, there's Asian, there's some African as well. Like, I really just have it all.
You're a cosmopolitan type of girl.
Yes.
Cosmopolitan. Wouldn't that just be 3?
What? 3?
Oh wait, I'm thinking Neapolitan.
Are you thinking Neapolitan, the ice cream?
I'm just
You're a
hungry.
Neapolitan kind of girl.
That's why I was like, wait, what are you
You got the
talking about?
vanilla, you got
Like
the strawberry, and you got the
and
chocolate.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Where are you hiding the chocolate, though, Alex? That's what I want to know.
Anyway, sorry. I keep on like diverting the conversation.
Yeah,
I'm
so I
focused.
don't blame you that you wouldn't assign that to me at the get-go because, I mean, I know that I look predominantly European. And also, like, I talked about this a little bit when with our podcast with Amanda, that I don't personally identify with really, like, any of those cultures.
Right.
I more so identify as being Christian. Like, that's my family culture.
I completely understand.
So,
yeah.
I'm just like, what I am, like, Dutch, Puerto Rican, Mexican, doesn't matter.
Well, I apologize for the presumption.
It's fine.
And I thank you for sharing that so diligently with me, so I feel much more enlightened to your family history.
Thank you. Anyway,
Continue.
so yeah, I actually was like arranging my closet the way that I'd like it. Like, first time I saw the floor of my closet in like 10 years. So I got to vacuum that, which was nice.
Was it like holy hell vacuuming it?
No, not really.
Oh.
I mean, like, it's not like crazy things were down there. Just like, it was nice to see the floor of my closet. To put just all my own stuff like on shelf, because there's like shelving in my closet that like for storage that I just wasn't able to put things in.
Sure.
So did that. Broke a nail, of course, because no good deed goes unpunished. Because like I was telling her a week or so ago that I broke down and decorated my family's Christmas tree, because we do that notoriously late in the year.
You broke down and like you had a mental breakdown to decorate.
No,
the
like
tree?
I'm the one
Like
who
crying while doing it.
So my family, none of us wants to do it ourselves.
Okay.
So I'm the one who blinked first. So I'm just like, fine, I'll decorate the Christmas tree. And I broke a nail doing that.
You're right. No good deed does go unpunished.
Yeah, so did that, broke a nail, cleaned my room, broke a nail. So I'm just like, well, I guess this is what I get for doing something nice.
Wow.
So yeah, I did clean out my closet, dusted all my furniture, got rid of knickknacks that I didn't need anymore. Just really lightened my load.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really nice for me to be in my room right now, because just like it's super clean.
Yeah, I'm sure the feeling of like zen.
The cycle of cleaning your room, getting it dirty again, and cleaning it again is almost like the cycle of life and rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
Like you feel like a completely different person after you clean it.
I agree.
And what makes me really happy about it is because like I started being off of work on the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes right into really the holidays. So those don't really feel like vacation days, because like those are like actual holidays. You're busy like doing things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the first vacation day for me was yesterday. So like having my room clean on the start of vacation, really feeling like I'm not procrastinating on anything. I could just literally do nothing and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Which, not that I really do feel guilty, but like I have a little bit of a nag in the back of my head.
Yeah.
So I started my vacation the right way.
That's awesome.
Good. That is
for you.
awesome.
And I did see my nephew right before I came here, so that made me particularly happy.
Nice. Extra on a good note.
Yes,
Perfect.
because there's no, my phone's up there. Duh. Just like well, you saw it because you stole it off my Instagram.
The picture of your nephew, yeah.
From Christmas. It was the most adorable thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super cute.
I can
Love
see
it.
the glow in your face.
Yeah.
Or is that the ring light that I didn't get?
Probably the ring light.
Okay.
Boo.
Anyway, that's me. What about y'all?
John, how was your week?
You know what? I had a similar type of experience when it came to kind of the restoration of one's own space. So I definitely cleaned. Somewhat ineffectively. I don't think I'm as effective as you are with cleaning. Maybe that's a male attribute, just like the shoe thing. I'm not sure. But I did have a lovely Christmas. I was here for Christmas Eve.
You were here.
By the way, can I just say something to you, Alex? Can we
Sure.
make a promise to each other right
Sure.
here on air? I would like to get you a Christmas gift next year. Would you
Okay.
like us to be Christmas buddies now?
Sure.
Okay. Because I try to every year like make a note of, okay, my relationship with a person's kind of progressed to the point where I can get them a Christmas gift.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, I could get something for Alex, especially, you got your little Pokemon stuff, and I'm like, I am all about that crap. I didn't say so you don't have to block me. I said it
You
right.
did.
I
You
did.
did say it. I'm gonna have to be in like post, like edit all of these out.
I'm just giving you something to do. But Christmas next year.
Did you know that for the past 2 Christmases we've sat next to each other?
I did.
Really? I didn't know that.
I knew that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Alex and I always have a lot at Andrea's wedding.
Right.
We had. I think. Well, did we sit next to each other or?
Well, after the ceremony, when we're waiting to like take pictures or whatever, we were talking for a pretty
long time. You were working
yeah.
at Fox.
Yes.
I remember that. Yes. And you were telling me the intricacies of being a production assistant or a.
I was a senior media technician.
Oh, see, that's even better. Why did I say production? That was such an insult to your capabilities. I apologize. A production assistant.
I mean, that's such a specific title.
No,
I'm
but
not
production
calling
assistant's
you.
like what you like get the coffees. Like she's doing stuff. And by the way, if there's any production assistants listening right now, I know there's a lot more nuance to your job, but I am not one, so therefore I will just assume.
Okay. What assumptions you're making on this podcast?
But anyway, next year.
Yes. Nice.
Christmas presents.
Sure.
Cute. I love watching this happen.
Watching people come together.
Yeah, especially like people like from different parts of my life, because I tend to have like a lot of friends from different cliques.
You do.
Like from a lot of different groups. Like I have a ton. And so when like, you know, a friend from different groups come together and become friends, it makes me so happy.
That used to terrify me.
Really?
Because
Why?
I have a lot of cliques as well.
You really
And there
do.
was a time...
That's why we get along so well.
Yeah, we know how to navigate, and there was a point when I had a mask for it. This is a completely, like, new podcast topic as well.
I know. Oh my god, wait, before you even say something, can I just say what he's about to say gives me so much sadness that it doesn't exist anymore?
Masks?
Oh, wait, what?
I was going to say...
You used to throw a mass Halloween party.
Oh, okay.
I'm so salty that I never got to go to one.
You never went to Spooky Party.
I didn't.
And I mean, it's not like it's gone, just with coronavirus. And then that's actually another podcast episode, so you need to be on way more often about why Spooky Party went on hiatus, because there was definitely the cops were involved.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
It was a whole thing. I was drunk, so I don't remember anything. I'm pretty sure I cried, but I cry every Spooky Party.
You really do. I remember one time in particular, because you cry every Spooky Party.
I just cry you know what? I feel like I keep emotions in until that day, Halloween.
You just let it all come
and just let it, but with copious amounts of alcohol involved.
Yeah.
And
there was one time in particular that like it was the year you dressed as Mugatu, which can I just tell you was the best costume we've ever had.
That was a great year.
But there was like I had gotten there and I was like doing something, and then they usually have this thing. I don't even know entirely what it is because I've never partook in it. But you guys have like this like glass boot.
The boot. Oh my god. So there's a tradition at these parties that there's two glass boots, and I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Beer Fest.
I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay, you know what? It's actually worth a sit down and watch. For one of those nights where you're like, I really don't want to contemplate too much of the universe. I just want to drink beer and watch other people drink beer.
See, here's the thing, is that movie was on, because you know this about my old job, that we had a TV in our office at Fox.
Okay.
That we'd just be able to throw anything we wanted to watch up, basically.
Uh-huh.
So I had a friend who threw up Beer Fest. Like, he put that on the monitor. And I ignored it and worked.
But she was in the same vicinity of it.
So like I would turn around every once in a while and like look at what was going on, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna keep working.
I mean, it's a raunchy comedy. Like it's not.
Alex hates raunchy comedy.
Yeah, that's exactly why I turned around.
Which is why you kind of you're working as well. You know, I would hate a raunchy comedy during work as well. It's all about the time when you're able to watch it. But anyway, in that movie they have Das Boot because it's in Germany.
Yeah.
Now that's racist. Germans and beers. So my friends had two of those boots, and so there's a tradition where we start off, like the party officially kicks off, usually about an hour and a half in, when a challenge is made to have someone do Das Boot. The problem is because I'm the main host, that I am always the one to be challenged first, and I cannot say no. I cannot. And every year I tell myself I'm going to pace myself this year so I'm not, blackout drunk. And the reason for that is because someone's like, Das Boot! Das Boot! And then they come find me and I'm like, but I'm busy right now. I'm trying to, host. And I'm like, no, Das Boot. And so that's about 2.5 or 3 beers all at once to be chugged. And I have a 50-50 win ratio right now. Like my kill-death ratio is like, just right there, 1-1, I guess.
The particular time I was talking about, the year of Mugatu, I don't even know if you even remember this, but you had makeup on because Mugatu has like eyeliner on.
Yeah.
So you had eyeliner
I wear makeup every Halloween party.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, he had eyeliner on. He was dressed as Mugatu. I had arrived, I was still pretty sober, and I just see him finishing, and you won that year.
Yeah, I won that year.
And I remember that you had finished the last drink, and you had spread your arms open, like, that statue in Rio of, like, the Jesus? He was just doing this, and, like, tears running down his face, like... And just, like, walking around the crowd, arms spread, and I was just like, John's gone already.
Because it's painful, actually. It is painful to chug that, like, it's cold. And so, for anyone who's ever chugged, like, 3 beers at once or done this challenge, it's actually, it's pretty analogous to having, like, a brain freeze.
Yeah.
And so, my brain's frozen right now. The intoxication hits you immediately. There's the energy going on around all this. Right. And so, I get drunk way too fast. And then, of course, I never deny a shot. I never deny really anything at those parties. So yeah.
Those are wild parties, and
they're wild, and they'll be back. They won't be as wild, and I think that's not even based on like a rule type of thing, but more so as we get older, like our expectations. We're not college kids anymore.
Yeah,
we can still hang with college. Like I can drink like a college kid, but. I don't want to do that. I want to be in a costume, and I want to. That's why each year we'd add things that were a little more like adults. So we had like costume contests. The first couple years we didn't have that.
I also call BS on your costume contest. Absolute BS. And every single person who I'm friends with also calls.
We have a grievance form that you can fill out. I'll send you the link.
Because see, here's the thing. As we mentioned earlier, John has many different groups of friends, and the group that puts on this party. Like, they're the group that, like, has control of this costume hunter. Like, all of us, like, we have
the
no
council.
part in it.
Like, are you going to go against the council, Alex? All right, the Republicans do it.
I've been to every party. I have never filled out, like, my little vote. I've never been entered. Nothing has ever happened. I'm just like, who's voting on this? Because no one I ever go with ever gets to vote or knows what's happening or anything with it. And all of a sudden, just some random other friend gets awarded costume of the day or whatever.
Yeah, I remember you complaining about this.
Because I was really particularly pissed because from scratch I made, and you were the Grand Master that year from Thor Ragnarok, and me and Aaron, without planning it with him, showed up as the Valkyrie and Thor, and we looked awesome, and we didn't even get mentioned.
Your
or
Valkyrie
anything.
costume was really good.
I know!
Don't you love how I had nothing to do with these parties and I've heard it up this
I do love that. I don't want to take too much time from the actual like podcast because I could go into like
we're 40 minutes in.
We're gonna have to go through the podcast fast.
Joe Rogan does it for 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to be 3 hours.
And we're not doing 3 hours.
I was gonna say that part of the reason why the voting gets skewed, actually, there is a very, I don't want to say practical, but a logical reason why it happens is that technically I'm supposed to like make sure people vote, and it goes back to if I start the party drunk, right. I can't function very, like, do you show up to work drunk, Alex?
No.
I've only done it like a couple times, and I taught public school for 5 years. So when you show up drunk, I shouldn't say that out loud. I'm kidding. I'm not a teacher anymore. What does it matter? Yeah, whatever. Drink every morning.
Oh my gosh.
It's 5 o'clock right now. But by the time we get to the point where like, oh, John, like some of the other co-hosts will come to me and like, okay, we should do the costume contest. And I'm like, shit. Like, and I'll forget that we were supposed to hand out like the little flyer things for voting.
Why do you guys just have a box?
That is, we have a suggestion box. I'll send you the link.
We're having out because when I threw my party last year in lieu of your party, because it didn't happen last year, when I threw my mini party, I had an app that I had everyone, like, I took pictures of everyone as they arrived, and it's like a system just scrolls through and you voted.
That's something that, like, we would certainly have. Every time we learn something, and especially as I don't want to say I'm the only one that hosts these parties. There's 2 other very essential people involved with, like, the decorations and the facilities and stuff like that. I focus mainly on the social aspect of it, so when it comes to how the audience or the partygoers interact with the environment there, I learn a lot each year. So things like that, what you're saying, is such a great idea. And I mean, I know how to do it. I just got to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But for next spooky party.
If it ever happens.
Well, spooky party 666. Like, it has to happen. It has to happen. That is the year Armageddon starts.
Oh my gosh.
So, party it up, Alex.
Anyways, are you done with your week update?
So anyways, I cleaned my room. Yeah. I am done with my week update.
Okay, I'm going to blow through mine really fast, and then we're going to blow through the podcast real fast. Okay, so my week, yes, as we all mentioned, we had a Christmas party. I hosted at my house. It was fantastic. I host it every year. This year was a lot different because of COVID, and I am very careful with all the regulations, so we did it outside, so it was something. I also had a turkey fiasco, which I believe John was here for, and he heard all about, but Alex was not here for it, so she didn't know anything about it. But I was putting on the meal. I was putting on, like, the dinner. So what was originally on the menu was a ham, some sides, and turkey, like a turkey breast.
Yeah.
The ham took so impossibly long to cook that I had put sides in the oven with it, and the way that, like, it just was structurally, like, you know, in the oven, I had no place to put the turkey in. So I was like, oh my gosh, what do we do? So Aaron had troubleshooted, and he had looked up a way to cook like, sliced turkey breast in the Instant Pot.
Okay.
So we had done that, we cut up all the turkey, We put it in the Instant Pot, and we were trying to get it to go. And for whatever reason, I think that really the gods are telling me, do not eat this turkey breast, because I've used the Instant Pot so many times. I always cook with the Instant Pot. And this time, it just wasn't working. Like, it would not pressurize. Steam was releasing, and it was just a no-go. So ultimately, I had to, like, relinquish the thought of having a turkey, but I think ultimately it was fine because the food came out really good. John did a really great job helping me distribute it to the other guests. But it was
I like being stressful. A waiter. I know the wind.
He was playing waiter. And so yeah, and then this year we had just the most presents of any year. My entire backyard was covered with gifts, and it took us from 10 p.m. to midnight to complete all the gift distribution.
Yeah, there's so many gifts.
It was insane.
Y'all go all out with your Christmas gifts. It's really a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah,
every year I'm just kind of like, how is this possible?
Yeah, it was a lot of Christmas gifts, but it made me so happy. I'm really just content with how it all came out. I think everyone really had a good time, hopefully. But one of the things that I wanted to do really fast on here was one of the gifts I had gotten for Alex came late. So I have it for her here, and she's going to open it.
Ooh.
Hopefully, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see what it is. If not, Alex, you'll have to explain it via voice. But John, do you mind passing this?
I don't mind at all. Ooh, okay.
I'm very excited.
So for those listening, it is a box.
Thank you.
Right, about 4 inches by 4 inches. And so I'm handing it to Alex now. Alex is smiling.
The play-by-play.
This is a play-by-play. She's opening it. She's wondering.
She knows what it is.
Oh God! Don't spoil it for the listeners.
Since this didn't come in time for the party, Drea made an announcement. You know, I don't know what point before Sarah left, I guess. About I got all the girls a candle that smells like someone specific from our personal relationship. So me and Drea like the Jonas Brothers, and we went to a Jonas Brothers concert together. So she got me a candle that smells like Joe Jonas.
Who is the best brother, by the way?
Can I smell Joe Jonas?
Yeah.
We'll let Alex smell.
Yeah,
first.
Alex, you go first.
Describe
I
the smell,
cannot
Alex.
wait to see what this smells like.
It's my personal favorite. I hope you like it too.
It sounds good.
What does it smell like? Describe it.
Joe Jonas.
Joe Jonas.
See, that's the thing. I have the hardest time describing smells. Like, it smells good.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just smells good.
Like,
So,
okay,
let's see.
John, you describe it. I know what it's supposed to be, so I could say what it's supposed to be.
You can say what it's supposed to be after. He takes
After
his guess.
John describes it.
Oh, I just keep bringing it in.
It's good.
It is good. It is. So I would say that.
So as a precursor, all these candles.
You know
are,
what? I'm just.
The scent is a derivative of a man scent. Like they all smell like man in some way. The
Like
particular.
colognes?
What's a man supposed to smell
not
like?
cologne specifically. So this particular candle. Do you want to
Wait, pause real quick.
Sure.
Because the next day I told my mom and my dad that this was like something I was expecting. It could not gross out my mom more.
Why?
The idea of a candle that smells like another person.
Really? But it
Yeah.
smells so good.
Joe Jonas smells really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Love.
If this is what he really smells like, it smells
If this
good.
is what he really smells like, yeah. So do you want to take a whack at it, John, and try to guess what it is?
I mean, I sense there's like a citrus quality to it, but I can't quite. Oh, okay, all right, but I can't quite put my finger on it. It's like.
So you are right. I'm going to tell you right here. So
Okay.
You're
It is
not
a
going
little
down a hole.
citrusy.
It is citrus. So it's 2 scents. One of them is citrus.
Okay.
And it's mixed with one more scent.
Okay. Is it a plant-based scent?
You're
Okay.
there.
Okay.
I feel like it's on your tongue.
So is it like
Please, just say whatever you're thinking. Just say whatever you're thinking.
like a tree?
Yes.
Okay. So it's citrus and like some type of timber, like
Close.
like. Let me do it again.
All of a sudden, this whole podcast is just determined.
Figuring out a smell.
Yeah, the title's me. What does
For those
Joe
listening and
smell
watching,
like?
you can't even smell this. So
This podcast is.
so right now, go get a citrus fruit from your fridge, walk
my
outside, and find a oak tree.
No, it's cedar wood.
Cedar. Cedar wood. So cedar and citrus.
Yeah, citrus
smells
and
like
cedar.
Joe
What
What kind of
Jonas.
citrus?
It just said citrus.
Oh.
That was a descriptor.
It smells good. I like it.
It's definitely, this one is the most bright smelling out of the other ones that I got. Like, the other ones smell more like what's like musty.
Do you still have them?
Yes.
Because I want to smell them.
I will bring them to you afterwards and you can give this one. The only one I don't have is the one Sarah took yesterday, which was
Adam Driver. That's
Driver.
the one I want to smell.
That's the one that the descriptor, it didn't even give me a descriptor. That's the only one that didn't give me a full-on description. That one just said tall, dark, and handsome. That's
I
all
feel
it
like it smells like his voice.
Did it smell good?
It smelled okay. It wasn't one of my favorites. It definitely smelled like an older man.
See, here's the thing. I'm a lot more skeptical about it now because it's not supposed to be cologne-y, so it's supposed to be like kind of their natural scent.
Well, I think maybe it's like the scents that they would use as a cologne.
Okay.
I would assume. I don't know. Like, I don't know how valid this is, but like, you know.
Anyway.
I guess it's just someone
But
sitting
still
at
a fun
home.
gift. Like, it's a great gift to have.
Yeah, I
what,
thought it was fun.
I thought it was hilarious. It is very fun, and if you would have gotten the chance to actually surprise us with it, I probably would have been crying laughing.
I know. I'm so upset that it came late, but you know, it was
it's still
like
funny.
What is it called? What do they call it? Mail get-in or whatever? Like the delivery get-in? Armageddon, but like with deliveries.
Oh, I get it.
Like
a
they had a
portmanteau
term
of
for
the
it,
two
but like
words,
the
yeah.
USPS was saying like, oh, by the way, like you're not gonna get it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I know that it's not fault of the store themselves. Anyway, okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I did saw Soul the past couple days.
I saw it last night too.
Amazing. I like really teared up. I highly recommend it.
I actually want to talk a little bit about it.
I do
Per
too,
part of
but
the.
we have like
well, no,
20
it's
minutes.
we only have 20 minutes left.
Basically.
Yeah,
So let's talk about it after the podcast, but I would say, just as a little plug, I recommend it if you have Disney Plus, if your friend has Disney Plus, like get their login information because it is just such a good way to end the year. It's such a good feel-good movie that just makes you like, I feel like it's such a good, like, bow tie to the end of 2020 and like the sorrows and just ugliness of this year because it's just a feel-good movie with a really good message.
I agree.
I'm less inclined to watch it because you already said that you had tears in your eyes.
It's okay to cry, Alex.
I didn't cry.
I just hate crying from movies.
Here's the thing. I cry at the most, like, minuscule thing. I didn't cry at this movie. It was more of like a happy cry. Like, it's like a relieving feeling more. I highly recommend it. I really think you would like it. It's not a sad movie at all.
At the end of the day, what's the worst thing that could happen? You cry? No one's watching.
True.
I already was crying last night watching something.
What were you watching?
We can talk about this later.
All right, let's get into the podcast. Let's not take too much time lollygagging through our points because we really do have like 20 minutes. Sorry guys.
Maybe a part one, part two. I don't know.
You got a different.
Well, it's the New Year's super extravaganza.
Well,
it can be a little
you're
bit
right.
longer. The listeners demand it.
You're right. This is the New Year's podcast. We are going to be talking about kind of just like 2020, the high points, the low points, and what we learned from this year. Not so much resolutions. We do have one section that's like our plans for the next year. I wouldn't call it a resolution because, first of all, I think resolutions are kind of dumb in the sense of like, oh, like you just say something, you follow it for a week, and then you forget about it. More of like what I hope we learn from this year and how to implement it into our lives going forward for like the years to come, not just 2021.
Right.
Okay, so high points in 2020. Alex, hit us.
So this is one that you and I share. Is we started 2020 in Mexico, which was a lot of fun.
Okay.
We were in Ixtapa a year ago today.
Yeah, literally today.
I'm sure if I were to go to my archived on Instagram, my Instagram stories, I'll find some glamorous beach picture.
I'm pretty sure that today was the day we went to the little island.
Oh, nice.
Because...
where I got the most...
Oh, wait, maybe not. Maybe that was tomorrow.
Well, one of those massages that I got one of those...
I mean, technically it was last year, so I don't even know where.
Right. Anyway, so Mexico was a lot of fun. That was a really good way to start the year. Completing the first application cycle through work, because I don't know if you know what I do now. Do you know where I work?
Please enlighten me.
So I work at a private, like, boarding school. It's boarding and day, but it's like a college prep school.
Okay.
And I work in the admissions office.
I see.
So being able to get through a whole application cycle was really cool. So that was really fun to just see, like, that whole thing through at work. Because I had started last November.
Yeah.
Like, right in the middle of their application cycle. And then back in May, I got a new car.
Oh, congratulations.
I know, it was the best thing ever because my car before then was a 2005, and that was the newest model car I've ever had. It was a 2005 at that point.
You know, it's 2020.
I know.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, now my car's a 2020. It actually has power windows. That's nice to me. I'm really excited about power windows and Bluetooth because I had a CD player and a radio.
Okay.
Yeah, so that car is fantastic.
Not the cassette you put in the radio that you can...
No, that was my car before that.
That was a car, okay.
Yeah. And then one thing I've been really happy about this year is being able to do these backyard hangouts with Dre.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I would have gone insane just being at home.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, this has been really nice to just feel a little bit normal at least.
Definitely.
The biggest thing that I'm happy about for this year was the birth of my nephew. Because it's my very first one, the first kid in the family. So he's adorable.
What's
he's
his name?
precious. His name's James.
James. Oh, what a refined name.
Yes. James Peter.
Oh my, wow. I had a friend tell me they'll never trust a man that has two first names as like...
No, that's his middle name. Peter's his middle name.
Oh, okay, wonderful then. All right, he's good then. I trust him.
Yes. He's fantastic. He's the most happy little baby. Love him.
I love it.
It's good to have that joy during this time of the year.
Right.
Particularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He makes everyone in my family so happy.
That's good.
Especially, like, it's been ridiculous watching my mom.
Oh, yeah, first grandchild. Absolutely.
Because my mom is already, like, she was a very, like, doting and loving mom.
Yeah.
So, like, it's intensified, like, 100-fold towards her first grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of like, you need to settle down over there.
Oh, yeah, well, she's a grandma, so she doesn't really have to, like, she doesn't have to do the stuff that is kind of the ugly side of parenting. You know, she just has to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, she doesn't have the discipline. She just has to love.
She just has to love. That's great for a grandparent.
So, like, he crosses the threshold of my house, and she's basically already reaching into his car seat, just like, give me.
How cute.
Anyway, I really had a fun time at the Halloween party that was here, because then it was also a mini birthday party for me as well. So, like, when, you know, we had, like, people here, and then, you know, people were leaving, it was just, like, a small group of people, and you brought out cupcakes, and it was really nice, especially since you don't really get to celebrate birthdays during COVID, so that was really nice to be with people and to feel celebrated in that way. A small victory for me was getting my twin brother and my sister-in-law into anime.
Oh, no, that's another podcast. Okay, I'm going to quiet down because we're going to go on a tangent.
What podcast do you want to be on?
Well, I'm not the host. You know.
I mean, I'd be glad to talk about that particular subject with you because she doesn't care at all.
That's why we need an outdoor. We need an outdoor. We need an outside perspective of like so.
No, I do care. I like animes. I'm just not particularly.
You like animes?
Animes, like multiple animes.
Well, it's just anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's going to my point. I'm not particularly, like, in love with them. Like, it's not my first go-to genre. But if someone puts it on and I like it, I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, anyway.
Anime podcast.
Yeah, anime podcast. We'll do it. Doing paint nights with you is really fun.
Yeah, paint nights are
You
good.
have paint nights?
We do have paint nights. You want to come?
Yes, please.
Actually, I haven't even mentioned this to you, but I just figured you were in. But Sunday.
Sure.
Okay. Sunday?
Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, afternoon.
Yeah.
I'll let my people know.
Okay.
To
Your people call my
let
people.
you know.
Sounds
well,
good.
they'll just call you.
All right.
Anyway, and then I guess the last thing is, like, getting more time to kind of, I guess, be just by myself and, like, be myself because, like, life before all of this was constantly just go, go, go.
Yeah.
Like, I was having a really great time, and I was always having somewhere to be and, like, hanging out with people, especially because I didn't work crazy hours anymore. Like, I actually got to be a human being.
Right.
But I think there's something to be said for just, like, taking it slow and just, like, being by yourself for a little bit and just doing stuff that makes you happy for the sake of being happy.
Yeah, and that time of self-reflection is also, like, it's for some people it's terrifying to self-reflect, and I think this year made everybody have to practice that.
Right.
And how we got out of that's kind of been different for everybody, but we're getting to the point where we're kind of getting used to it.
Yeah, totally.
So everyone's kind of reflecting, and for some it's faster, for some it's slower, but the point is it's happening on a kind of almost like a societal little scale. So that's cool that your experience in self-reflection was very positive for you.
Yeah.
So, what were your high points, John?
Oh my God. Okay, so I had a lot of low points, but that's the next subject.
That's the next topic.
Yeah, but I have a couple of good high points actually. So this is gonna sound strange, but I got to move in with my dad. I was living on my own for a while, but being able to move in with him and start cultivating a relationship with him after the death of my mom was something particularly special to me. So it's like I get to be close with him again, and so we watch anime together.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm happy to just be around him, and so it's nice to, having been a while on my own, come back to a household that has people in it.
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't have its difficulties.
Yeah.
So that's one particular high point that happened back in February. Another high point is I got a new dog, a lovely little German Husky Shepherd mix named Freya. Who, if you follow me on Instagram, you will likely see pictures of her. Follow me on Instagram to see her. Follow me on Twitter or Snapchat to see my cat, because the cat's more evil, so I try to have to keep it away from the public.
Oh my God.
And so that was a positive thing. But I think the most positive thing
What's your handle on Instagram?
Kesaran Saran.
Okay, so if you could spell that, you can follow it. You can get it from our Instagram. We'll tag him.
So the big thing though is that, and it kind of is I guess you'll get the good part because it comes after a low point in my life, but I had stopped teaching, which was my career for pretty much half of my 20s. And so I began a graduate program at Cal State Fullerton in something called instructional design, which eventually I realized was far more appropriate to my interests and passions and abilities and talents. So having for such a long time think I could only be, and that movie Soul is kind of lends into this, thinking that you only have, so you should watch Soul. That thinking that things could only be a particular way because that is what you knew or what we're good at,
or like quote unquote destined to do.
Yes.
Like from your preconceived ideas.
Exactly. And so to be released of preconceived notions about myself and then be part of a program, it's like, wow, there's more to my passion of teaching than just being in a classroom.
Totally.
And so I'm loving this program. I'm learning a lot of like actual technical aspects as well. So I would call that pretty much a high point of my year.
Yeah.
Because it's not so much that I'm in that program, but more so it's representative of this change of recognition of my own self and my passions and the person that I want to be, or I didn't know I could be. So that's the true high point. But it's manifested as, I'm in college again. So I feel young again. Yeah, doing all that college stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your high points? Oh, sorry.
Are you done?
I am. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, just to riff off of that, one of my high points was also that I began my second master's this year as well.
So that's why we're
and that's why we're
we're so much in common. Yeah.
But yeah, I did start my second master's this year. I'm going back to get my master's in education, which is really derivative of what you're talking about too.
Yeah, we'll be working together a lot in our professional careers.
You'll be designing the lesson plans and I'll be conducting them.
It's more than just designing lesson plans.
Okay, well, anyway. So I am going back for my master's in education, and not so much that I'm having the same like transitory experience that you are, where like you're realizing that like, wow, this is so amazing, this is more of the things that I want to do. I know that teaching is not ultimately what I want to do, but it's the stepping stone that will take me to where I want to be,
right,
as I want to be an administrator. So it's not like that exact experience of going back to school and getting this degree that is exciting for me, but it's more of like being back in school, making new friends. I've made like a core group of friends at the college I'm at that we talk every week, and it's like they're great, and it's just fun to see that, I can still like make new friends in today's day and age, because it's kind of weird.
That seems strange, right? Yeah.
Like,
how do you make new friends? Like,
yeah, as an adult, it's like either your coworkers or like it's your old friends from like childhood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like hard to make friends just in everyday society. So that's been fun. As Alex mentioned earlier, one of my biggest high points of the year has been starting the year in Mexico. That was just, obviously for obvious reasons, fantastic. I also got settled into my job. I started it last year, and this year is just kind of like I've really developed a close relationship with my boss, to the point where like I hardly consider him a boss, more like a mentor and a friend, like a big brother kind of deal.
Yeah.
So that's been really great. And then obviously just the holidays. Like my mom's birthday in particular was like the first one for me, which is not a holiday, but it was like the first time. Her birthday is June 1st. And that was the first time that my family like got back together, outdoors obviously and cautious. But that was the first time we got back together after like quarantining and like not seeing each other and like really taking COVID seriously. Not that we're not taking it seriously now, but like that was the first time we were just like, okay, like let's try to see each other again. So that was really great because I hadn't seen my parents or my dog since like March up until that point. So that was very challenging. So seeing them was really great. And then just the holidays, like Alex mentioned, Halloween was really fun. It was really nice to like see people. It wasn't like we had a ton of people at my house or in my backyard, but like more than 2 people, you know, it was just like really like, wow, this is so surreal. And then Thanksgiving was great with my family, and Christmas, obviously, it was just my favorite holiday of the year. And I think it went well this year, so it was really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so let's move on to some low points we had.
Oh.
Alex, you want to start us?
So, it was really tough transition working from home initially.
Oh, I bet.
Because I just don't function well that way. I feel a lot more motivated when I'm like in the office and like have to like go to work, not when I'm, you know, next to my bedroom.
Yeah.
With all my home things, wanting to do home things.
Yeah, totally.
Space is an important aspect of your workflow.
Right, yeah.
So I understand being in your home. It's like, okay, for home, I'm supposed to relax here. So how am I distinguishing between my modes of working and my modes of being at home and restoring myself?
Right.
And when those two things kind of get mixed up, I can see the negative effects it might have on one's own.
So I was like getting in a very like angsty blur because one day just blended into another, and like all this time was passing and I was just feeling like very aggravated because like there was a certain point in time where I was actually working out of my bedroom, like sitting on my bed with like, you know, a lap desk sort of thing, and it was very irritating to me because like I was spending all day in my room like working and then not working. It just didn't feel like there was any kind of divide.
Right.
And then things got a lot better when I got multiple screens and I was able to work in what I now call my office, but it's just my older brother's room, you know, when he used to live there. So that was kind of rough, but, you know, it got better. And then just missing seeing people and, like, just going out.
Totally.
Because that's, like, you know, people are social. You want to go out. You want to hang out with your friends. You want to see family. You know, you want to do all this stuff. You don't want your life to be put on pause.
Right.
And especially considering, like, how detrimental just it is to people in general. Like, you know, thankfully, I'm in the type of work where I can still continue working.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, there are people who are, you know, losing jobs and, you know, not being able to make ends meet and all this whatever. So I'm very fortunate, but, you know, all in all, it's, like, very frustrating, I think, for, as an entire nation to be, like, well, world, really.
Yeah.
To be, like, we can't do things, can't support ourselves, really. It's difficult.
Yeah, totally.
And another one is my car registration is still messed up.
I was just about to say, like, our listeners are, like, tuning in for, like, months now, being like, this girl still hasn't figured out her registration.
Right, so get this. So, you know, bought the new car. My first time, like, financing a car.
Uh-huh.
Well, really dealing with the dealership at all.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, once I get my registration and my license plate, because everything was, like, right on my documents, like, from the dealership, but they submitted my name wrong to the DMV. So on my registration, on my title, my last name is spelled incorrectly.
Okay.
In the most monstrous way ever. Like, there was so much, it was straight up negligence.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like, it's not like one or two
It's almost
letters.
criminal negligence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like, what it is, it's my entire last name copy and pasted into my last name. So
Weirdsma?
So...
Wiersma?
Oh, like they put a Weirdsma inside, like,
The W,
after the E or after the I or E or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. My last name, Wiersma, and then they copied my entire last name after the first W. So it's two W's right next to each other.
Weirdsma.
Wiersma.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like...
Mrs. Wiersma, your car's ready for...
So, because I want to pay off my car.
That'd be nice.
Because, I mean, at this point, I'm ready to pay off my car.
Yeah.
Like, I'd just like to get that over with because it's one less thing to think about, during the month is to pay, my car payment. So I'd like to do that, but that would mean that my car title would come to me with an incorrect name on it.
Right.
Which is problematic.
Yes.
Right. And just hoping that I never get pulled over because my car registration is wrong.
Right.
And I've been trying to get it fixed with the dealership, with the bank that's financing the car, because I can't do it myself because I'm not the lien holder.
Right. That's frustrating.
So yeah, I've been getting the runaround for a long time.
I hope that fixes then. Like, any idea when there's at least some progress to be reported?
Well, because a couple weeks ago I had called the bank that's doing the loan, and I thought that I'd gotten somewhere with it, but then it was pretty close to the holidays, so because I was expecting to receive a letter in the mail saying that the change has been made.
Yeah.
But I never got that letter. But I was kind of like, well, there's no point to really calling around the holidays, I think, because mail right now is just crazy.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just wait until after the new year so I can yell at them when they're not focused on other things.
Sure. Makes sense.
I really hope that clears up for you.
I really do too. I really hope it doesn't hit a year after buying the car.
It obviously will clear up. It's just a matter of when.
Let's have a celebration when it does, though.
I know. We'll have a party for
We will have a party for your car registration.
Sounds good.
All right, John, give us some of your low points. Some of your low points.
Okay. Well, they all kind of tiny. Well, here's what I'll do. Like, if I for future times, I can expand a lot because each of these could be their own topic in itself.
Sure.
But basically, I had several low points this year. That it kind of starts last year, so in that flux of trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and because I didn't start my graduate program until September, so prior to that I had a plan to get into a different graduate program, actually a PhD program, and I had applied to that and was rejected on my 30th birthday.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was a great time. And so that was back in February. So there's that first low point because it's like, all right, I'm entering this new phase of my life and I know what I'm going to do, and then it didn't happen. So it's almost like, well, you have to reset again. But what do I do right now? What am I resetting to?
Yeah.
And so that was one particular low point. Another low point is that, and this is it's more of a neutral point, but part of the living with my dad, we ended up having a couple extra housemates come by to live with us, which were my grandparents, which love them to death. But they have a particular style of living that did not quite go in line with my style of living. Basically, they're an old Salvadorian couple. So their viewpoints and their habits and their behaviors can be a little bit counterintuitive to the comfort of a younger person. Yeah. And I've noticed a lot within my own family these little nuances about the relationships that they have that I would never have known about had I not observed it. Some of my dad's relationship with his dad and his mom and his sister, and then with their children and stuff like that. So it's kind of more of a neutral point because there's a lot of high points with having my grandparents around. But the adjustment of having to accept that, I moved in with my dad, I knew I was going to enjoy it. I moved in with my cousin, I knew I was going to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But to live with somebody that you didn't necessarily think you were going to live with, and I think maybe some listeners might understand something like that because COVID did hit a lot of people in terms of their living situations and financial situations. So you might be with someone that you didn't think that you were going to be with this year.
Yeah, totally.
And the adjustment to that can be jarring at times, but that's part of the growth. That's part of changing of yourself. So that was one thing. My lowest point, and this is probably like another podcast topic, is that I had someone that was someone that I loved very dearly died this year. And she didn't die of COVID, she died of an autoimmune disease. But she lived in Florida, so I flew out to Florida in the middle of July in Tampa, Florida, so a hot spot. So I just assumed that I was getting COVID, but I was not gonna go. Yeah. And so, this was a person that I've known since I was 12.
Sure.
So didn't catch COVID, thought I did.
While you were having symptoms?
Well, okay, so that goes to the next low point.
Sorry,
the next low point.
Yeah.
So dealing with that death, which is still something I'm doing right now, and I mean, we should have a grief podcast. We can talk about grief.
We can talk about grief.
But she had passed, so I had to deal with that for a couple of months. And then I start grad school, which is a good thing, but of course there's a stress to it as well.
Yeah.
Like I have been in the work sector for many years, and it took a little bit of an adjustment to figure out how to be a student again.
Yeah.
And so I am a terrible student. Well, I learned once again how to be a good student, but I definitely started a little.
Imagine you being a bad student.
Oh, I'm an unprofessional student. That's a better way of putting it. In October, so I'm kind of going chronologically here, and then in October, I actually was hospitalized for an anxiety attack. And going into the symptoms thing, so I thought that I had COVID symptoms because I would get chills, I had all this fatigue, I'd always take my temperature, I would get tested, always negative, my temperature was fine. And so I just assumed, like, whatever, COVID's, like, still being studied and stuff, so whatever strain I have is just one of the weird, spooky strains. So, of course, I'd get that kind of strain. I had felt these symptoms 3 times this year. The first time was in April when I was working for a tax office, and that was highly stressful, and that's when it just started. So my employer at the time didn't close down or didn't really have a lot of provisions. I don't think he believed it was a thing. I still don't think he believes it's a thing. But I had to work and meet with people doing their taxes throughout the entire time. And even though I might have had a mask on, like, I didn't know at that time the severity of what COVID was still kind of being gauged depending on the area and stuff like that. So once that happened and I started feeling fatigued, started feeling just sick in general, I just assumed I had it. Yeah. And then it went away after a couple weeks. Yeah. And then after Florida, when I came back, I had another 2 weeks of the exact same symptoms. So I just assumed once again, like, okay, of course, I was in Tampa, Florida, so of course I got COVID. Like, no matter what I tried. And then my cousin who lives with me had a 21st birthday party, and much to my reservations to having a party, we ended up having this very large, like, totally breaking the law type party. Like, we had a mechanical bull in the driveway.
Oh, dear.
In an Asian neighborhood.
Oh my God.
Like, we were that household. And just the embarrassment of knowing that also affected me. Like, that, there was a lot of stress because I had to, like, we wanted to get grass in the backyard, so I had to be involved in the process of getting the grass. So I ended up sodding my backyard all by myself. Oh, wow. Which was fun, by the way. Like, I enjoyed learning how to do that, but it definitely was stressful. So then there's this party that was supposed to have just family, but of course, I did air quotations for people listening. But of course, it wasn't just family unless you considered the entire church and then all their friends. And then there were so many people there. And so and I know that there were some people there who had a positive COVID test as well. We later found out. So of course, I assume I know, right? Oh, I was so pissed. So can I say pissed?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. So it was shitty, but
Okay.
But so middle of October, these symptoms have them again. Trying to relax, but this time it's actually pretty bad to the point where my heart was racing. I just had bought an Apple Watch, so I was watching my heart rate, and there was a point of that evening of October 15th where my heart rate was going between 50 beats per minute to 120, just jumping back and forth. And I'm like, and then I felt a pain in my arm and a pain in my jaw. And I'm like, I know these symptoms. I've read about these before. I'm going to have a heart attack, or I'm going to go into cardiac arrest. Yeah. And so I called the paramedics, and so they came and picked me up. And it was fun. One of the questions they asked me after they did all these tests, they did an EKG, a chest X-ray, blood work. They come back like, Mr. Serrano, have you had any stressors recently in your life? And I laughed at the doctor when he asked that.
Like, it's 2020.
And I said, are they going to pay you to be my therapist right now? Because it's a lot of money you can get. But I said, yeah, there's been some stressors in my life. And he says, well, all your medical stuff came back perfectly fine, and it seems that you had the symptoms of an anxiety attack. And at that time, I understood anxiety. I recognized that I felt that I had it.
Yeah.
But I had always kind of assigned it into the realm of more of a mental state. So you're anxious about things, and anxiety is really something that you work with within your own head. I had never really accepted the possibility of how it affects one's body. Mm-hmm. And so looking back, working at the tax office, dealing with the grief of a dear loved one, and then this entire family issue where certainly people caught COVID from it, it's anxiety. I was anxious, and it affected my body to the point where like the effects are real. And so I kind of want to end my little low point thing right here with saying that it's really important to recognize how the effects of this year may affect your body as well.
Like
I know
emotional, mental, whole
you have to take it from a holistic approach.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us might feel the emotional and mental strains of what this year had brought upon us, but think about your little back pain right now.
Yeah.
Think about. I'm not trying to scare anybody, thinking like, oh my god, like I'm dying, like nothing like that.
Oh my god, I'm having a panic.
Well, I mean, you are dying, but not in that way.
Oh my god.
In fact, accepting that you are dying probably might help with the panic attacks. But taking care of yourself really does mean taking care of your body as well. So the last couple months of my year have been pretty, we already did the high points. Never mind. But the last couple months, this is a high point to the low points, just before everyone's a downer right now. Like, wow, John had a shitty year. Wow, that's sad.
No, but it's all on the up and up now.
Yeah, it's because the last couple months, you're like, okay, now that I can identify what was wrong with me. I thought that whatever was wrong with me was an outward influence, and even though they were caused by outward influences, I was reacting in a way that says, I can't control this, so I'm just, the world will take me as is.
Sure.
If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. If I'm gonna get sick, I'm gonna get sick. If I'm not gonna get a job, I'm not gonna get a job. Things like that. Without recognizing that there were things that I had the autonomy to be able to do.
Sure.
So the past couple months have been all about health, all about both mental and physical.
Yeah.
And so for a tough year, and I guess after you go over your low points, I'll finish with I
was going to say, this is such, I almost don't even want to say my low points because it's just such a good segue into our next topic, which is reflections on our experiences.
I mean,
I can just literally just say...
I am the special guest star.
You are the special guest. I'm just going to throw out here my low points, which is my birthday, because my birthday was in April. Mm-hmm. So I spent it alone.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone.
We Zoomed.
We Zoomed, yeah. My friends and I Zoomed, and that was my party.
Zoom parties are great. All the kids are doing it.
Yeah, so that was, not that it was bad, because I'm very grateful that all my friends got together and did that for me, because I didn't orchestrate it, like you guys put it on together. And I'm very grateful to that, but it was just really sad to be like, wow, this is life right now,
Yeah.
So that was tough. And then me and Aaron were fighting a lot in the beginning, because we were used to living separate lives and then coming together at the end of the day. But
right.
Now it's just it was we were together constantly all day long, and it's just getting each other's throats. And then the whole reopening of the nation, when everyone was just okay, everything's fine again, let's go back to doing whatever we want. All my friends, not all my friends, but some people I knew going to Vegas or throwing parties and just doing things. It's just upsetting to me, because I'm I'm here taking it very seriously, because obviously my parents are immunocompromised and I live with my husband's grandmother, and obviously if I were to get it, no big deal, whatever. If I die, who cares? But if I'm responsible for killing off family members, I could never live with myself,
Right.
So it's just very stressful for me. But those are my low points. Let's move on to our reflections. And John, why don't you go first, since you were kind of really on a roll?
Okay. Oh, I'm on a roll. Butter me up. Put me in the oven. So looking at all these instances where low point after low point after low point, and it's when does it stop?
Yeah.
And part of the process of going through that does involve kind of an acceptance of, well, it actually doesn't really stop. And I think a lot of us going into 2021 might be lying to ourselves, not directly, like you're not telling a direct lie to yourself, but there's assumption, like with most New Year's, you're like, okay, New Year resolution, I'm going to be a different person this new year, stuff like that. Circumstances will change.
Right.
If you're following astrology, you know, we're going in the age of Aquarius. If you're, you know, if you're even politically, you think about, you know, we have a new president, so things must change, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest lesson that I've kind of learned this past year is a lesson about expectations. The idea that we expected things to be a certain way. When quarantine happened, we expected 2 weeks of it. And then when it's like, okay, we'll wait till May. And, you know, so every time we would get to a point where our expectations had to be realized and they weren't, we were disappointed.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of added to this collective sadness that we all had. This disappointment of, okay, well, I thought life was supposed to get better now. I thought life was supposed to get better now. And each month we kept on going through that.
Yeah.
And I feel like kind of a word of caution to January 1st, 2021 is a lot of us have this feeling that, okay, it is now a new year and it's got to get better, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it might for some people, it might not for other people. And, you know, I've consumed a lot of media this past year.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us have.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite shows that I've watched, and I think everyone listening should watch these. Schitt's Creek. You don't have to. You don't have to censor that one.
No. I just started that show. I was watching an episode when you were like, I'm here.
Okay, so
I'm on episode 3.
Okay, well, keep with it.
Sure.
Keep with it. Schitt's Creek, The Good Place, the movie Soul. I think about music like Taylor Swift's album, Kid Cudi's album, even video games like The Last of Us Part 2. Like I've read several books this year, and I've noticed a particular theme in the type of media that has been put out this particular year.
Yeah.
Which is these themes of growth and redemption. That the people creating these, actual people, artists, okay, whether it's Taylor Swift, Kid Cudi, Daniel Levy for Schitt's Creek, any game designer, any author of a book that's come out this year, they're people going through very similar things that the rest of us are.
Yeah.
And so their creation, their art, whatever it may be, is going to be a reflection of that. And I consistently see this message of no matter how bad things get, how we react to it is what defines the positive or negative outcome with it.
Right.
So we are always going to be acted upon. Coronavirus won't disappear until coronavirus disappears. In fact, it will never disappear, just like swine flu hasn't disappeared.
Yeah.
But regardless of when it's managed or not, on a population level, how we choose to live with that is going to be what defines the quality of our life.
Yeah.
How we choose to live with the fact that maybe for some time you might be unemployed. Maybe for some time you might be alone. Maybe for some time things aren't going to change. So what can I change? What do I have control over? What do I have power over? And this year has really shown me that the only thing I have control over is literally just myself. Yeah. And even my own body I didn't have control over. Like my own body was failing me at some points, or I was failing it more so. But the only thing I can control is my reactions to things and my perceptions to things. And so I look at 2021 and I'm like, I don't know what's coming with it. I don't know if things might get better on an objective level. I think they will. Like just looking at the evidence of how people are coming together much more. Our political system has a chance in terms of growing into something that can be a little more helpful to the uplifting of the foundation of our society. I look at how educators, and so this is a big thing for me in education, so I look at how educators who've had to do a bunch of they've had to change the structure of education, how they're adapting to that, how so many industries are adapting to that.
Yeah.
And I feel like the new year, 2021, is going to be a very jarring realization. Jarring for some, typical for others. A realization that things are not going to be the same that they've always been. And I, as an individual, and this is what I guess anyone listening to, maybe you want to ask yourself this, is what can I, as an individual, do in the passage into this time of uncertainty? am I going to watch the movie Soul, watch The Good Place, watch Schitt's Creek, like go back and think about all the shows you watched this year, all the music you listened to, all the books you've read, all the video games you've played that have like good stories. Well, Call of Duty is a great story, but think about all those things that you've consumed this year and consider the lessons to be learned from those.
Yeah.
And now going into 2021, are you going to use those lessons? And so I guess talking on resolutions, if you want to put it like that, I don't have a particular resolution. And I think also we're so used to, you need just like a very specific resolution that you can describe very easily that has an intended goal and an expectation. So, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose 30 pounds this year. All right. I have my goal, I have my expectation, and it can be quantifiable. I think our resolutions this year, for a lot of people that I've spoken to, for myself, and I think just in general, with viewing the way people have been interacting with each other, that our resolutions are a lot less quantifiable and more qualitative. That I want the quality of my life to change. And so that's what I'm going into 2021 with. This, I can only control my perceptions, but thank God I can, because how I perceive things is going to define how I'm going to enjoy my life and how I'm going to enjoy my time with others and people as well. And so I'm excited for 2021. Not so much saying like, oh, things are going to get better, but if there's one thing that can get better, it's got to be me.
Aww.
So
thanks for tuning into the podcast on that end. That's so beautiful. That's so cute.
Fun announcement: John Serrano has now taken over the TRUUU Podcast.
I know. All of a sudden, the new host, John Serrano.
Oh, just have me on more often.
We really should. You should, especially because you live down the street, right?
I do. It took me 12 minutes to get here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I stopped at Starbucks.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that was beautiful. Thank you, John. Alex, you could follow that up.
Thanks. So I guess like my kind of reflection, over the past year is really, this is something that I've always said, but I think is something that's especially true now, is don't stress about the things that you don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just kind of like, it does nothing for you.
Yeah, totally.
Because my whole attitude about, especially like with everything with the virus, which obviously I'm living as carefully as I can. I'm not taking, unnecessary risks. I'm not, going into people's homes and licking the countertops or anything like that. Like,
We're not supposed to do that?
No.
Actually, no.
Oh.
John's like, oh, about that.
You know when I was in the kitchen for Christmas Eve?
Oh, God. Sorry, John.
So, yeah, there's no, point in, like, to me, there's no point in just, like, unnecessary worry about, like, catching it. Because, like, if you live carefully and if you end up catching it, like, things happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the end of the world. Not everyone who gets it dies. Like,
right.
Obviously, it's really horrible that so many people have. And, I don't want to spread it to anyone else.
Yeah.
So, live carefully. But at the same time, just, like, you don't have to kill yourself over it either.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's something that I've really worked on, because I was killing myself over the whole thought of, like, what if I get it? What if someone gets it? Da-da-da-da.
Right.
And I, exactly what you're saying, Alex, like, what's the point? How is that serving me by freaking myself out over it constantly?
Right. And, like, there's someone who I speak to who is just like, well, if you get sick, period, right now, like, you're not being careful enough, even if you get something like an actual cold. Yeah. Which is true. Yeah, sure. That's true. But also, you're not, omniscient.
Yeah. How are you to know?
Yeah, things happen, with how symptoms manifest and, like, all, like, those periods of time, like, where the timetables are so crazy and we don't know enough about it. Just kind of, like, you can pass by someone and catch it.
Yeah.
And neither person will know that, they even had it.
Yeah, totally.
And those sort of things is just kind of, like, there's a certain amount, to me, of inevitability to it. So I'm just kind of like, well, there's no point to stress out about it.
Totally.
To me.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think kind of what really can tie that together is that you do have control at all times of at least one thing or another. So even if you do end up catching it, you still have control over things. You have control over the people around you that you consciously don't want to spread it to.
Right.
you have control over the way that you are going to take care of your body now, then, and afterwards.
Right.
And, God forbid, but even if we're on the doorstep of our mortality, we still have control in terms of how we react to that and the kind of hearts that we have, that we want to go forward in that as well. So, I want to... That's for our religion podcast or whatever.
Yeah,
religion podcast. But it's a good reminder, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's a good reminder, because what you're saying is that the stress, can't control it. It's going to happen. It's scary. Life's scary. Things are scary.
Yeah.
But I still have control over it. And you still have control over it. And we all still have control over it.
Right. And see, that's a little bit, of an aside too, because, you brought it up a little bit, but, how I live my life is defined a lot by, my faith.
Mm-hmm.
And, I believe in a God who has a plan for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's nothing for me to really stress out about it. Whatever his plan is, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in that, too. I think I'm a big believer in predestination, which gives my husband, endless grief.
Oh, yeah, me and him have had that conversation.
Yeah, he's a he was a philosophy major, and, he has a big issue with the fact that I believe in predetermination. But I fall into that category of people who are just everything that's meant to happen is going to happen. I'm not super, super religious, but I do believe that, God has a plan for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of, what we think should happen, it doesn't matter because he already knows what's going to happen. And, that's already determined for us. So I'm with you there.
Interesting topic.
Yeah.
I feel like we should explore this at some other point.
Yeah, at some other point, definitely.
In the religion podcast, we'll talk about predetermination.
Anyway.
Okay, go on.
So I guess moving on to my second point then is there's nothing wrong with how I put it as going into hermit mode. I did air quotes there for those who are just listening. But to going, being a little bit reclusive, I guess, not necessarily cutting off from everyone, but taking a step back and being hey, I need to just be by myself for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to text everyone back right away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just be with yourself in the moment. Just do something that will make you happy.
Yeah.
Don't participate in behaviors that are going to stress you out. Just be chill.
Mm-hmm.
And, because, I'll go through periods of time like that. I usually always answer a message from you.
Mm-hmm.
But, I can answer messages pretty slowly right now. Because I'm just I just want to do my own thing.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because you have to get through this period of time in whatever way you can and in as healthy as the way you can. And that's how I'm doing it right now. This is the healthiest for me, is just, taking a step back, not wanting to take on other people's stress. I'm willing to, listen, lend an ear to a friend, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just kind of I can't do anything but listen for you.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
I'll give you some, words of encouragement, but I can't take that on for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is already stressful enough.
100%. I agree with you.
Yeah, and you can't really help someone else if you yourself are not restored enough to the point where you can help them. It's a disservice to literally everyone, yourself and anyone else, if you are not taking the time to restore yourself, to take care of yourself, so that when you are ready, you're ready to text back and say, hey, what's up? And know that I'm sure we all get those texts and we're I know exactly where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to deal with this right now. And that's perfectly okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay to do that.
Yeah.
Eventually we have to deal with it, which is also okay. That's part of life. Things come at us and we do have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that, you're taking a stand in terms of, I'm going to take care of myself first. Doesn't mean I'm not taking care of you or that I won't take care of you. I will, because that's the kind of person I am. I love you. You're my friend, family, whatever it may be. I'm going to do this for you. But I couldn't do it effectively if I didn't myself restore my ability to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of funny because I told this to Drea the other day and then she turned around and did it to me. But,
Oh, can I say that?
No.
What did I do?
Okay.
And, so I was telling Drea the other day, I don't remember what the context was specifically, but that if a group message, a group text message is over 3 people, then I mute it.
Oh, same.
Because I don't want to deal with it. All the notifications at once really stresses me out. And I'm not the type of person who, feels the need to respond to every little thing either. So I'm just kind of I don't. If it's not something conveying actual instruction, hey, we're meeting at this time, then I don't need it. It's all side chatter to me. So
I did it to you in 2 ways. I did it one because I accidentally muted her as a contact, like between our direct messages to each other, not in the context of like a group message.
Yeah.
I accidentally muted her. And so like she was like texting me and like I was not replying because I just didn't see them. And then I did it to her in a second way because when I got these candles that I announced to all the girls at Christmas that I bought them these candles, I put her in a group message with like 5 other girls, and they're just, you know, Danielle, Paula.
Within 5 minutes, there was like 30 notifications, and like, I can't do this.
Yeah. So I did it to her in 2 ways, my bad.
It's like, I literally just told you. Anything over 3 and I mute it.
Whoops. I mean, you got the information you needed, and then you could just mute it.
Right, exactly.
But, and you both know better for next time. That's the point.
I mean,
next
I probably still will put you in situations like that, but it's like, it's fine. I know that Alex will mute it, but she saw the initial message, which is the important one, and it's no big deal.
Really, like, the moral of the story there is if you want to, like, make sure that I obtain some information, just text it to me directly.
Don't put her in a group message.
Unless it's, you know, a relatively small group. But
yeah.
Since kind of John joined the 2 last things, like, looking forward also, so I'll just join mine in as well. I'm looking forward into 2021 to getting back into my life to a certain degree, whatever degree we're able to. But then also, like, not necessarily forgetting what I've been trying to do lately, which is, you know, just to take some time for myself. Because I was always going somewhere before, which is fun, and it makes you feel, like, fulfilled and, like, you're not missing out on your life and whatever. But it's also important to just take it slow every once in a while and just recharge.
Yeah. Which
I was really bad at doing before, and that's something that I want to continue doing in 2021. And also, I'm hoping to get back into Duolingo.
Oh, yeah.
What language are you trying to learn?
Japanese.
Oh.
I'm going to... Well, I mean, I guess I already can be considered at least a little bit trilingual. Because I do know, like, a little bit of Japanese. Like, very little, but I know a little.
Yeah.
And also, I'm trying to bully some of my family into learning ASL.
Oh,
I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But here's the thing, is that learning languages is fun for me, just in particular, it is really fun for me. I love learning other languages. But it's a lot more fun if another person's learning it with you, so you could actually do it together.
Absolutely.
Well, because you have to practice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, practice, and also, like, what is the point of me learning sign language if I'm signing with someone and can't talk to them?
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Because I've always wanted to learn sign language.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool. But, like, and he made a good point, because I talked to him about it on Sunday, my brother. He was like, hey, I found an app even where you can learn free sign language.
Oh, nice.
But he's just like, it sounds a lot like work. And I don't want to come home from work and do more work. And I was like, that is fair. That's fair, but boo.
That's a viewpoint, though. Like, he's viewing it as work as opposed to you viewing it as, like, this is fun.
Well, that's why I initially took the break from Japanese that I did, because it started feeling like work. But that was 100% my fault, because Duolingo has their leagues.
Yeah.
That they do every week.
I gotta get in this league.
And I'm almost to the top league.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because, I'm into the second to highest league right now. Or I'm at the point where I can start the second to highest league. So I just want to get into the highest league. That's all I want to do. But I know that if I start it, because it goes from Sunday to Sunday. I know I have to start it on a Sunday and then, like, really go hard that entire week in order to, like, make it to the next league, because these are, like, the people who are spending ridiculous amounts of time on the app.
Sure.
So I don't want to, because if you don't make it to, like, the top 10 or whatever, you go down in leagues.
Right.
So I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to lose my spot and have to start over.
So you're just doing it to yourself, like, for your mental state of mind.
Yeah, I'm for sure doing this to myself. That's where it felt like work because I was trying to get to the top league.
Yeah, I feel you.
But anyway, that's my hope.
All right. Well, my reflections on this past year were more on like the importance of mental health, because I feel like that's something that I have neglected a lot of my life, because I've always been a person who's focused on, like, physical health and like status and, like, academic achievement and things like that, and I really neglected mental health for a large portion of my life, and this is something that me and John actually talked about during Christmas, and how when I heard about his whole experience going to the hospital because he thought he was having a heart attack, I was like, oh, I had that experience too. Because, like, there was a time in my life where I also thought, like, I'm having a heart attack, and it was really just an anxiety attack. And I feel like this year has really, like, shown me how I don't need to, like, take copious amount of times out of my day to devote to mental health. Like, mental health care doesn't mean, like, spending hours meditating, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, like, you know, I have to go to the spa, or I have to go do this, I have to, you know, to, like, relax or whatever. It's more of, like, what gives you that feeling of peace. And it could be, like, so little and so, like, quick, and just, like, culmination of doing all these little things at different times in your day can really make a big difference. So, like, for me, like, one of the things is, like, taking baths, you know, like, so, like, not important, you know, just take a 10-minute bath, and, like, it's just so, like, rejuvenating, like, lighting candles, doing yoga, exercising, like, all those things are, like, little things that, like, help me personally just get into a better headspace. And even, like, things that you wouldn't really think about, like, during quarantine, I was, like, obviously, like, becoming a potato because, you know, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just staying in my house all day, not doing anything. And so, like, I don't know if this is, like, kind of gross or, like, kind of weird, but, like, I stopped shaving my legs because I was just like, what's the point, you know?
Right, yeah.
And then, like, one day I was like, okay, I gotta shave my legs. This is becoming unruly. And so, like, I shaved my legs. And then, like, after that, I started realizing, I was like, wow, like, I didn't realize how much, like, of a therapeutic process it was to shave my legs. Because, like, the feeling of having really smooth legs.
Yeah, well, you feel clean.
Well, I think it's, you know, feeling good about yourself.
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing, because, like, for the longest time, I viewed, as many girls do, like, viewing shaving legs, like, as such a chore.
Yeah.
And then I guess, like, just realizing, like, changing the whole, like, mindset and, like, realizing, like, no, like, this is, like, a self-care routine. You know, it makes me feel better about myself afterwards. Like, if I just do it, like, afterwards, I'm going to feel so much better. And so I started realizing little things like that, like, are positive and not, like, negative, you know? And then lastly, just, like, living in the moment. I'm also the type of person who my whole life I've always been constantly thinking about the future. Like, what am I going to do next? Like, what's my career going to be? Like, what's my next career move? What school am I going to go to? You know, like, I'm always thinking forward and, like, thinking, like, what do I have to do for the future? And this year was definitely a good thing because it made me realize, like, okay, like, you really can't plan for the future because we don't know, like, kind of what you were saying, John, like, we don't know what 2021 is going to be like. Yeah, I have an idea of, like, okay, well, I should start student teaching next year and I should quit my current job and hopefully maybe I'll get, like, my new job and da-da-da-da. You know, I could think that, but, like, I really don't know if any of that's going to happen. So it's more of, like, realizing how to live in the now and appreciate, like, just day-to-day, like, what's going on.
Right.
And I feel like that's really healthy for my mental state also, and for anyone else who is experiencing that same kind of change in ways of thought. And to bring it all together, looking forward, not necessarily my New Year's resolution, but something that I hope to do more of in 2021 that will make me happy and help me with just mental health is paying more attention to, like, little things that make me happy. And, like, one of the things that really makes me happy is doing, like, little hobbies and, like, crafting and, like, painting, as Alex said earlier. And I actually have an Etsy shop, which I only really sell bullet journals on right now, which Alex knows it's a point of contention because I love selling them.
It
like,
only stresses you out.
It always stresses me out because I hand make bullet journals. Like, every single page I, like, draw them
really
intricately. Yeah.
Oh my
They're
God.
beautiful, but they're a lot of work.
I imagine.
Like,
but...
it takes me, like, a full week to do one journal. And every single time I complete one, I feel so great about it, and I'm so in love with it. But every single time I have to make a new one, I'm just like, God, you know, like, I get so stressed out. And the thing is that, like, I don't sell any, for the most part, the whole year, and it's just at the end of the year that everyone and their mom is like, oh, order, and I'm just like, oh, you know, like, it's just, like, really stressful. So going off of that point is I don't necessarily want to stop selling my bullet journals because I actually have, like, customers who order from me every year, so I know that they will be wanting them in the future.
Yeah.
But I hope to expand my Etsy shop in the new coming year. I really plan to order a Cricut machine, which is a cutting device that helps you, like, do more intricate designs for different things. So I want to start doing, like, cake toppers for weddings and, like, parties and, like, doing things like that. Like, I'll do, like, vinyl stickers for, like, bridesmaids, like, shirts, you know, like I ordered for my bridesmaid party or, like, a bachelorette party. Like, doing a lot of vinyl stuff and just, like, different designing of, like, that, just expanding my shop. I really hope to do that. And I also recently got into making candles because when I ordered the candles off of Etsy that I bought for Alex, I started looking into how do you make candles, and so I like bought all the stuff to make it, so I'm hoping to start doing that too. So yeah, that's like kind of what I'm hoping to do personally. I know it's not so much like something I could recommend to someone to try because not everyone has a Cricut machine or not everyone has an Etsy account. But that I feel like is going to make me really happy in 2021 and something I would like to focus on. So,
I think that between the three of us, you kind of get this combination of regardless of where you're at life and what your abilities are or your interests even, that there is a way to improve in 2021.
Yeah, totally.
It could be a mental thing, it could be a habit or behavior type thing, it could just be a living each day type of thing. The point is try it, do it.
Yeah, totally. I think, the whole like theme of 2021 really should be like just like live your life.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that means to you, you should just live your life. With regard that we are still in a pandemic. Like, don't live your life and, like, go, like, partying and clubbing and, like, infecting everyone. Don't do that. But, yeah, live it to, like, the fullest, I guess, to the capacity that you can. Because you never know. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Learn to live your life, I guess, in a way.
Totally.
That there are ways to live that aren't just, I'm just going to do what I feel like doing.
Yeah.
That I can enjoy.
It has purpose.
Yeah, because part of living life and enjoying life is having the conscientious ability to recognize the things that you do like about life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you take the time to say, I'm going to go and say, I'm going to call someone that I haven't talked to in a long time today, or I want to bring some light to someone else's day to day, that's a conscious decision you're making to improve the quality of your life.
Yeah,
so you can do the same for putting on a mask. You can do the same for being like, wait, I'm going to choose not to do this, but in lieu of that, I'm going to do something different so that I don't get anyone sick.
Yeah. I
So there's always a choice.
Always a choice.
Always
Make
power
a good
over
one.
what you can do.
Make a good choice.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh my gosh, I just looked at the time.
It's been like 2 hours.
This is the longest
Our
podcast
super
we've had.
New Year podcast. And we didn't even cover everything.
I hope you guys had fun. Thank you, John, for being a guest on today's podcast.
It was my
I'm sure
pleasure.
You will be on many more.
I'd
in the
love
future. So you guys go to our Instagram and get the tag for John. You can follow him, and we also will have polls as promised in the beginning of the podcast.
I'm more fun on Twitter.
Okay, so I guess I'll put his Twitter information. I don't know how to use Twitter. I'm geriatric. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Happy 2020, and looking forward to interacting with you guys more in 2021.
Yeah, 2021. That's the year.
That's the year. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.